Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm Napasa, and I'm going to soon be joined by my co host, Sam. But before that, let me welcome you to Daily Immigration Dose. Thank you so much, each one of you, for joining us. And it's very exciting that you can also join us in this discussion, in this session today, and that you can do by commenting or by calling us in this number where you can dial in. That is 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988-888. And also, friends, if you haven't as yet subscribed to our channel, don't forget to subscribe. The handle is at Immigration Talk Show. Go check us out because there's so much content and latest updates on immigration that you do not want to miss out on. In fact, we just had two webinars earlier today. One with Attorney Chance Parvathaneni from SPB Law Firm, where we discussed about some of the most important updates, latest ones, and also about RFEs 221G. And we also had another webinar with Attorney Uma Mantravadi from Mantra Law. And you should also check the webinar out. So, yes, and today's session, before we head on, I have this very important disclaimer, and that is by watching our videos, you understand that the information shared, including user comments, is not professional advice. Use at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, it's just a casual exchange of ideas. So, friends, I hope that you keep that in mind and you can come here to also casually exchange ideas about immigration and especially this topic of discussion today. And today's topic is text travel warning. Why are H-1B visa holders advised to stay in the US? And you must be hearing this, from different attorneys who have been joining us on our shows as well, that it's better not to travel right now. It's very critical, the situation. So today we will discuss more on this topic and please feel free to join us. So now, without further ado, please help me welcome my co-host, Sam. Hi, Sam. What's up? How are you doing? It was a great show, by the way, with Attorney Uma.
Same here, and the great show with Chand Parvatneni as well. The insights were really amazing, and that too, it was really engaging and very interactive. I hope that our viewers also like those shows, and friends, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and also press the bell icon so that whenever we go up with the next live webinar, you guys get the notification and participate and watch those webinars till the end. So, Napasa, again, this is another very important topic and not something very new. Of course, we have been talking about the similar topic from past, I think from last episode also, we have talked about the Silicon Valley and also the tech giants are saying that it's not a good idea right now for the H-1B workers to visit outside the US. So, of course, this topic right now is on everyone's notification and is on top of the headlines. And that too quite disturbing because nobody has thought that H-1B workers, they are going to have these difficulties in traveling and regarding their status. But I think it's always better to know more about the topic and know the reasons, like why is it happening, and also what H-1B workers can do right now, what are their rights, and also how they can save themselves. So, yeah,
Yes.
stay tuned, friends, and also participate in this webinar by dialing up this number or posting the comments in the comment section. And till then, yeah, keep watching this webinar as this will definitely going to be very helpful for you.
Very rightly said, Sam. Yes, stay with us. And in fact, before we discuss on today's topic, I mean, we have been, like Sam has said, we've heard a lot of
Yeah.
problems at the port of entry. People returning back are not able to, whether they're young people or older people who have been living for decades now in the United States. But yes, everybody's facing. And now today we are going to discuss about why even H-1B holders are told, suggested not to travel right now. So stay with us. And yeah, before we discuss on this topic, Sam, let's go and update our viewers with a couple of news updates. And you can go
Sure.
first.
Okay. So here's another very important news update, friends, from my end, and that's about Trump's new tariffs on India. What's happening? So this is a big news from the United States as President Donald Trump has announced a new reciprocal tariffs on several countries, including India, But what does this mean for trade and how could this affect immigration? Let's break it down. So if we also say that Trump says that, many countries, including India, charge high taxes, that means high tariff on American goods, while the US charges much lower tariffs in return. So to balance the scales, he has introduced this reciprocal tariff. What it is, it means that the US will charge countries based on what they charge America. And also, how is it going to impact India? This is a major question for the Indian immigrants. So, right now, India charges a 52% tariff on American goods, and in response, the US will impose a 27% tariff on Indian imports. Trump called this a fair move, and as the US is still charging only half of what India imposes. And I think that's right because if we talk about India charges, then how much it is? 52%. And for US, it's like 27%. So that's less than even a half. Also, if we talk about like which other countries are affected, then let's have a look on China. It's 34% tariff, European Union, 20%, Japan, 24%, South Korea, it's 25%. So Trump has also introduced a minimum 10% tariff on all imports and a 25% tax on cars made outside the US, which could make foreign cars even more expensive. But you know what the big question is, friends? That will these tariffs make Indian products more expensive in the US? I think yes, it is possible. Since Indian goods entering the US will now have to pay a higher tax, as earlier it wasn't happening this way. So prices could go up, and some Indian exporters may struggle to compete as well. So, what can we say that is this a bad news for India? Well, not necessarily, because while some worry about the impact, experts says that India's export may only drop by 3 to 3.5%. That is a small decline. And India has been diversifying its trade routes and finding new markets to reduce dependency on the US. As India is trying to become a little more independent in trade marketing and everything, but still, I think declining of 3 to 3.5% doesn't make a much difference, but still, it's not a good sign if you are having little, differences with US. And also, is India doing anything to avoid these tariffs? Let's see. So earlier this month, friends, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal was in Washington and he discussed a bilateral trade agreement to reduce these tariffs. So this means from Indian side, it was a quite initiative, it was quite an effort that to reduce the tariff. Both countries are working to get, towards a $500 billion trade deal by 2030. So this is a project I think that has been working from both the countries, and this could help resolve these trade relations as US and India are struggling with the trade relations from quite a long time. So now if we talk about like how is this going to connect to immigration? Then trade and immigration, of course, go hand in hand. And if tariffs make Indian goods more expensive in the US, then it could also affect Indian businesses, jobs, and even foreign investments. And this may push more Indian professionals to move to the US for work, to study, and also to have their own business. This can lead to more demand for H-1B visas and other work permits. At the same time, friends, US has been tightening immigration policies, especially under leaders like Donald Trump. If economic tension continues, then it could definitely lead to more visa restrictions, as we are seeing right now. And this will, of course, make it harder for Indian students, workers, entrepreneurs, business people, or anyone who wants to move to the US and work over there. So the trade war between India and US right now is quite heating up, and it could have a big ripple effect on jobs, businesses, and even immigration policies. So, what do you all think, friends? Please let me know in the comments below that should the US charge higher tariffs, and is this reciprocal policy or the change is fair enough from President Donald Trump's side? Please let me know in the comments below what is your thinking about it and what's your call. I would love to know. And this was the news update from my end. Napasa, please go ahead and share the other news update with our viewers.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, very important news update. And I also have one news update to share. And this is ICE raid on Washington State, a roofing company, which leads, more than a dozen, I mean, more than 3 dozen arrests. So 37 people, you can say. And yes, this is about federal immigration officials who raided a roofing business in Bellingham, Washington on Wednesday. They arrested 37 workers in what officials described as a crackdown on unlawful employment. So the raid, which took place at Mount Baker Roofing, was carried out by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that is ICE, Homeland Security Investigations Unit, in coordination with Customs and Border Protection, that is CBP. And according to witnesses, agents arrived at 7:30 a.m., heavily armed, and swiftly moved to detain workers suspected of lacking proper employment authorization. So eyewitness accounts, describe intense law enforcement presence. That is for sure. Thomas Feuert, an employee at Mount Baker Roofing, described that the scene was aggressive and unsettling. Speaking to Cascadia Daily News in Spanish, he recounted how officials, rounded up workers into a back room, checking their names and photos against a prepared list before taking away those suspected of being undocumented. Well, they arrived wielding their guns like they're going to shoot us, like we are criminals. That is what Feucht had to say. And they corralled us into a room in the back of the building. They had a list of pictures of everyone who was undocumented and took them away. Two buses were seen transporting the detained workers away, marking what many in the local community believe to be one of the most significant immigration enforcement actions in the region in years. Well, ICE confirms investigation into unlawful employment practices. And ICE's spokesperson, David Yost, later issued a statement confirming that the operation was a part of an ongoing criminal investigation into fraudulent employment practices. And according to Yost, the 37 individuals arrested had misrepresented their immigration status and submitted fraudulent documents and or information to gain employment. And this company, itself has not been charged with wrongdoing, but Mount Baking Roofing stated that it was fully cooperating with authorities and ensuring its employees were treated fairly and respectfully under the law. Patterns of the workplace immigration raids, if you look at it, the latest workplace raid is reminiscent of past large scale enforcement actions. ICE arrested 32,809 individuals in the first 50 days of President Donald Trump's administration, more than doubling the previous year's daily arrest average. However, large scale workplace raids have been less common in recent years, with most enforcement efforts focusing on targeted operations rather than mass detentions. So, workers, who often face immediate consequences, criminal charges against business owners who hire unauthorized workers remain rare, with fines being the most common penalty. But what do we have to say? What's going to happen next? I mean, the fate of these 37 arrested workers remains uncertain, and they could face deportation proceedings. While the investigation into the company's hiring practices continues, there could unfold more stories, which we will be happy to bring to you to update you about. And yes, it's very, very important, to stay updated with regard to policies, enforcement actions, and even their impact on workers and businesses, because this is really happening. It's not just stories. I mean, it's not one or two people, but 37 people who were arrested. So I would want to know what are your thoughts on this also. I know raids have become common, especially under this administration, but I would still like to know because they were misrepresenting, right? And that itself is unlawful. And that's the update I had for you folks. So do tell us what do you think about it. And now I think, Sam, we should get to our topic of discussion for today. I know it's
That's right.
very important also. So the topic, as we've said, friends, it's text travel warning. Why are H-1B visa holders advised to stay in the United States? And Sam, you're going to tell us what is the scenario right now and what is happening.
All right. So I think with the thumbnail title only, our friends are understanding like what's happening right now. But let me give it in a brief way. Like right now, friends, of course, the big tech companies, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, the big tech companies that we usually consider, they are warning their employees that it's better not to travel outside the US, and they are very firm with their statements right now. And if we talk about the reason, like why are they saying this, then there's a growing uncertainty about US immigration policies under US President Donald Trump's administration. And companies right now are quite anxious and very, I would say, not happy or quite tensed, with the changes that's happening in the immigration policies. And they have this fear that their employers might face difficulties returning to the country. And it's nothing that they are, I don't know whether they are assuming right or not, but recently also we have come across with different news updates about the green cards have been revoked, also the F1 student visas, 300 F1 student visas have been taken away. And these are like of course, impacting the immigrants in a very bad way, in a very major way. And of course, their status are not very much sure, and the immigration policies are also becoming uncertain. So that is why it is becoming a major concern for these, tech travelers and tech people that it's better not to travel outside the US because it will be difficult for you guys to re-enter the US because the scrutinies are different, the policies are changing, and the documents, they can require more documents, they can ask more and more questions. Of course, at the US airport also, the green cards are being taken away. So it's a big thing, it's a big news, and it's time to be little cautious and little vigilant about like what's happening right now. And also, however, under President Trump's stricter immigration policies, the H-1B visa holders fear rising de denial rates when they try to re-enter the US after international travel. There are so many H-1B visa holders, friends, who are missing out their, families meeting in the India or maybe outside the US. They want to go, but they are canceling their plans. There are some employees who wants to go and attend their family function, but unfortunately they are not able to because of this fear that they may not able to enter the US. And I think this fear is quite valid because of the certain, I would say, the uncertainty of the immigration policies that's happening. So yeah, I think that's short, and I hope it's clear like what's happening right now. It's nothing new. Of course, from past few days we have been discussing this topic, and it's quite familiar to our viewers also. So yeah, I think Napasa, that's all what's happening, and let's move ahead with like why are companies, wanting the H-1B workers?
For sure, Sam. And yes, friends, do join us on call. Our number is 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988888. But also, I would like to tell you, check us out. We are at Immigration Talk Show, and subscribe to us, friends, because we do have a lot of, attorneys joining us, a lot of updates to share with you. So you don't want to miss out on all of them. And yes, if you talk about, why are companies warning H-1B workers, I think especially when I was also reading through today, there are companies like Amazon, Google, and they have sent legal advisories, to their H-1B employees because they are trying to urge them to avoid international travel. So, immigration lawyers are really seeing a rise in cases where visa holders are getting stuck abroad due to unexpected re entry restrictions and even visa refusals or administrative delays. So, it's not as easy or smooth anymore to just re-enter back, especially at this time right now, because a lot is happening, a lot of changes are happening, and sort of critical the situation is. They have to do a lot of checkings, double checkings. Scrutiny is become has become very high. So yes, and if you look at it, at least two Indian H-1B workers have cancelled their travel plans to India as well after learning about their risk. And this is just about the cases we know. I'm sure there are more people who have cancelled their ideas or plans of visiting their homes or, traveling to other places because of the situation right now being very crucial. So about the two Indian H-1B workers. One of them had said that he's really worried about his second child's citizenship as President Trump is pushing for stricter birthright citizenship laws, right? So
Hmm.
uh, this is also going to make it very, very difficult for children of visa holders to get US citizenship.
Yeah.
And we hear, I mean, yesterday we spoke about the green card freeze. So this is impacting so many people out there who have been waiting for years, who were, in the backlog and waiting for their turn to come. And they were thinking that probably it's going to happen soon, but then now we hear that there's a pause, indefinite pause on the green cards. So we don't know who is going to get one and after how long anymore. And yes, the visa uncertainty is also affecting the daily life for H-1B workers because many immigrants, they feel that they must carry their legal documents at all times in case they need to prove their immigration status. And this is not just about feeling. I really have to tell you folks out there, it's most important to play safe. So carry your legal documents at all times, especially when you're stepping out of your home, and whether it's going to the market or visiting another friend or even going to your school or institute or office. It's about your identity, your status, what your situation is, and so that if anybody has any question, you have proof in hand ready. So I also, appeal that you have your legal documents with you at all times, and the visa status, of course, that mentions. So
That's right.
now, if you come back to the real deal, why is it affecting the tech industry? The impact it has on his tech industry. So,
Hmm.
Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit? I mean, we have been discussing already, of course, about Silicon Valley, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and
Yeah.
they have been dependent on immigrant talent, right? And
Hmm.
tell us, how is it impacting the tech industry?
All right. So I think right now it's not impacting in a financial way or in a different way. Of course, people are scared right now. They are, becoming more nervous. They're becoming more anxious. But the major thing is that when somebody is warning, their employees only that it's better not to travel outside the US, then it becomes a major concern. It becomes like a big question, like why are they saying this and why are they warning their employees? Because of course there may be some impact on the tech industry that we are not able to see, but of course those tech giants or the people, those who are working in the tech industry, they can, assume that the danger that's coming in the future. So as we all know that of course the Silicon Valley is hub for innovation, and 70% of the Indian H-1B workers are, working over there and having a great life. I mean, they are innovating, they are developing their skills and highly contributing to the US economy. Of course, a 2018 study also showed that more than half of US startups, valued at over $1 billion, were founded by immigrants. And this is a huge number. This shows that because of the immigrants only, the Silicon Valley is now what it is. And these immigrants have, contributed in a great way, in a great amount, not only in terms of their skills, but their time, their energy, and everything. Even the CEOs of Microsoft, Google, and Uber are the immigrants themselves. And SpaceX, Tesla, of course, how can we forget that? So it's very obvious thing that, of course, the Silicon Valley, the tech giants or the tech companies that right now, we give the examples or uh, every one of us have a dream one day that we all can work on Google or Uber or Microsoft or such a big companies. So these companies are found and, worked by the immigrants themselves. So it's a great thing. The history, if we go and look at the history, then the immigrants have made such a like a proud kind of thing for everyone, by establishing these companies and working on these companies. But similarly, if we look at the current situation also, then friends, it's also the immigrants who have, I would say, disturbed the immigration system by exploiting it, by not following the rules, violating the laws, and not going with the visa categories that what has been asked for. So that is why right now I think these changes are happening. These steps are being taken by President Trump's administration. And of course, challenges are there, but friends, keep this in mind that challenges are never going to have a full stop over there. Maybe in 2025, different people are facing these challenges, but in 2026, maybe other challenges can be there. So challenges will be there, opportunities will also be there. It's you who have to make sure and find out that where you can invest your energy, where you can invest your time. And right now, I think by staying vigilant, by staying aware, and get in touch with the attorney, I think these three pointers are really important for you all to make sure that you have these, checklist with these three pointers so that you can save yourself and can work in the US as how you're working right now. And also talking about like big tech companies, they are right now arguing that reducing the H-1B visa could actually hurt the America's ability to compete with China. Because China and US, they have, I would say, a neck-to-neck competition regarding the technology and AI. And of course, US doesn't want, China to, I would say, to lead in terms of innovation, in terms of technology, or in terms of AI. And that is why I don't think that, of course, immigrants will be removed or the H-1B workers will be removed from the US. And yeah, because they are the one who are contributing a lot and making America great again. And yeah, that's all, Nipasa. I think that's all from my side. Anything else that you want to add up to this conversation, like how it is going to impact on tech industry?
So sorry. Yes, absolutely. But before that, I would like to say hello to David. Thank you so much, David, for joining us. And friends, I really hope that you are enjoying this conversation because it's insightful. There's so much information to share with you. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. And I appeal to you because you should check us out. There's so much information and latest updates that you don't want to miss out on. And I really suggest that you go check out the webinars we had today, with two different attorneys. So there is important information that you don't want to miss out on. All right. And coming back, hi David, once again, thank you so much for joining us on YouTube. We are going to read your comments very soon.
That's right. Okay, Nipasa, I think you can
So,
have a sip
yes,
of water.
like coming back to what you had asked, I'm so sorry. Like the impact on tech industry, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but what should H-1B workers do right now? I think for now, it's really important to stay put in the United States. If you're already in here, do not go outside, avoid all sorts of unnecessary travel, and best to stay updated. Look out for to the news updates. In fact, today there was the stock market crashed, right? And from
Yeah,
what Attorney Chand had also mentioned in the show, it's also going to impact the H-1B workers. So yes, in fact, if the market has crashed, then it's going to have its impact on everything. So, including H-1B workers, the visas, people coming in, and everything. So, everything in the country. So, I think it's
yeah,
very, very important to stay updated on what is happening, why it's happening, who is it going to impact, and you never know the changes that are coming up, right? So it's best to stay
that's right.
updated. I think right now we cannot afford to be ignorant about anything, right? All these updates, new changes, and every day I think change is only constant. So please stay updated. And for that, I think I suggest that you subscribe to our channel, because we have the latest updates for you and you don't want to miss out on all of them. Hit that bell icon so that whenever we post a content, you are notified. You can share it with your loved ones who you care about, who you think that it's important to share these news updates with, so that they also know and don't stay ignorant, like I said. So
That's right.
yes, coming back, I'm so sorry. There has been uncertainty, of course, and the fact remains that skilled immigrants are vital to America's economy, even innovation, and also the global competitiveness, right? Whether you talk about business leaders, lawyers, or advocacy groups, or they're all pushing for policies that protect H-1B workers and ensure fair treatment for immigrants who contribute to the US economy. And um, yes, there has been a lot of things in this, but I think it's best to also, like, consult experts and attorneys in case you are a migrant here already, so why not to, like, discuss, like, how safe are you, or before you travel, before you make any plans for travel. I know sometimes the situation could be unavoidable where you really have to travel, probably go visit your home or your loved ones, but it's best to consult with an attorney and see if at all you can avoid the travel, because right now it's just best to stay in the country. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
of course, all the time, it's very important to keep your documents with you, to prove your immigration status, your identity, how you came in, what for you're here, and no sort of misrepresentation at all. What is so best to follow your rules, avoid taking risks too much, especially, I know the weekend is coming in just a couple of days, and we're looking forward to probably enjoying with our friends. But if you're going to drink, it's better you stay at your friend's place. No driving after drinking, okay? And otherwise, ask somebody who doesn't drink to drop you. But yes, even small things as this, just avoid taking risks, because officers out there are very much on their toes. They're looking for people who are, you know doing all sorts of things. Whether you're working or you're studying, you're still doing your thing, but still you're watched. There's so much scrutiny,
Yeah.
and just be safe, I would say. Don't take any risks, all right? So yeah, I think that's all I had to say. So Sam, why don't you also tell us, maybe about the discrimination, the stereotypes, and what is happening right now?
Mhm. So, if we talk about discrimination and stereotypes, then of course, we have to look a little past and we have to uh, talk about a bit history into it. Like, of course, whenever an immigrant, travel to the US, then it's very hard for them. It's never a very easy path for them to adapt the culture, to have that work environment, and to talk to people. And even some immigrants really struggle talking in English. That's a very basic one, but that happens, and that's for sure. They struggle with the food, with culture, with friends, with everything. But friends, that's what the thing is. Whenever we look at the history, whenever we look at the past, that shows as an example that you have to be resilient. Those who are not giving up, of course, the immigrants, the founders, if we talk about, Elon Musk, the, I would say, the great entrepreneur, Tesla, SpaceX, who founded it? Of course, Elon Musk. So if we'll go into his biography, then he also shared in his biography that he also struggled a lot, when he came to the US. Everything. He was also facing culture issue, and so many things were happening with him that what the different immigrants also faced. But he stayed on. He kept on pushing himself. He just kept on like moving and being resilient. So that's how the immigrants, they have to struggle. Maybe they have struggled in the past, but now also they are struggling a bit. Not a bit, I would say a lot. But the one who wants to, reach at the top, they do that. And I think by looking at the discrimination also that happened, then of course it's so sad, but these are the learning things and the learning phase that's happened, and nothing to be hopeless about it, nothing to be sad about it. It's quite disturbing, but friends, it's okay, you know. Of course, these things happens with everyone, and you keep on focusing on the positive side. You keep on focusing on the information and the news updates that's happening, so that you don't miss out any important news update, and you don't I would say, keep yourself safe and informed regarding all the news that's happening in the world of immigration. So, yes, I think this was the discrimination and the stereotype. And what do you think, Nipasa? I mean, it's not only about in 2025 the immigrants are struggling. Do you think that earlier also the people, of course, the immigration process was quite simple, but still, they have the challenges, they have the struggle that maybe we are not able to hear, but if we go and talk to them personally, then of course they have some very difficult situation that they might have faced, and maybe we didn't know about it. What do you have to say on this, Napasa?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure there must have been difficult situations. And when you talk about getting a US visa, I don't know how impossible or anything as such, but it's always a lengthy process. You know, every step has to be given very much importance, and you cannot make any mistakes. And if you only are able to deliver properly, without making any mistake, only then you are able to get your US visa and be in the United States, right? And this is the
Yeah.
story which has been since forever. I mean, it was not as easy unless, I mean, you are entering illegally, which is very, very, I mean, unlawful. If you're caught, then you'll obviously be deported or charged. So if you're coming in legally, then of course this has been the rule. And but now what is happening is, of course, there's so much scrutiny, but it's so openly, and loud, very loud, that it is
Yeah.
that it's very, how to say, that you're watched, every step you take, everything you do, why you're here. And even like, even for example, like the just the job description, that your job is a specialty occupation. And if you are not qualified, like your job role doesn't equal to what you studied or from the line you come in, then you're probably going to be questioned. Not just you, even your employer is going to
Yeah.
be questioned, and you have to give a lot of proof, a lot of explanation, basically. So everything, and now we also hear that green card holders are also being questioned, or they are also being revoked. Their visa statuses are being revoked. So right now,
Yeah.
anybody and everything, and anybody, in case you're not doing the right thing or you're misrepresenting, there are chances that you will be questioned, and you have to have your answers. So it's best to stay on the right path. Be good, do good, do nothing that you will be questioned or raised fingers upon. So I will just say that.
Hmm.
And yes, of course, if you talk about discrimination, that's there everywhere, right, Sam? Even inside a country in itself, also, if you're belonging to a different community, sometimes people, how to say, there are bullies. If the groups are
Yeah.
larger, there are bullies everywhere. It's not just in America. But so if you talk about discrimination,
Everywhere.
yes, it exists. Maybe your English is different, maybe you look different,
Hmm.
whether you look prettier or uglier or anything, your color is anything, discrimination is there everywhere. So that exists. And America being a
That's right.
land of immigrants, for so many years, from people, I mean, people have come into America from every corner of the world, and making America their own also, it's their home, right, Sam? So they have faced, their ancestors also have faced this. And probably, yes, no matter, boiling down to one language, that is English, right? Everybody communicates with
Yeah.
that, even if it is a Chinese person who could be the third generation in this country.
Yeah.
Well, they will have their Chinese name, but they still have their American name as well. So that's very interesting, also.
Hmm.
Um, so much happening. So, yes, discrimination is there. There have been stereotypes.
Yeah.
But what is happening is also, very important changes are happening, and I really hope that everybody is keeping themselves updated. And if you're unable to find some updates, check our channel out, because we have a lot of updates, news updates, and attorneys joining us to tell you the latest information themselves. So I hope that you don't miss out on any information. And I think that said, we should read David's comment. I see him waiting for quite some time. So, Sam, should we take that up?
Sure. Yeah, why not? Okay, let me take up David's comment. Hi, David. And David is saying that U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, today posted a Federal Register notice for public inspection establishing procedure for certain Hong Kong residents covered by deferred and forced departure to apply for EADs that will be valid through February 5th, 2027. All right, David, I think this is a very latest news that you have been sharing with us. And I think it would be great if you could join us on the call. That is 425-4366-335. And don't forget to put the access code, that is 988888. I think this can be a great topic of discussion. And soon I think we will have a live show on this topic too, because it's very important. And of course, we are going to delve into this with one of the, I would say, the attorneys, and of course, we'll have more and more questions over there. So participate in more in our live shows, and of course, we are going to have a great session over there. And Napasa, why don't you go ahead and take up Richard's comment?
Sure, Sam. And Richard is saying, what is the 7-year rule for immigration? The US has many options for non permanent immigrants to become permanent residents. Another new option was recently introduced to the House of Representatives, HR 1511, renewing sorry, renewing immigration provisions of the Immigration Act 1929. The popular nickname for this is the 7-year rule. If passed, this bill will expand the Department of Homeland Security's ability to grant lawful permanent resident status to people in the United States. That is right. Very, very important update. Thank you so much for reminding us about the 7-year rule. And Richard, shout out to you. I wish you could join us to tell this yourself. But yes, very important. So I think with that, we have taken up the comments as well, Sam. And I think we should definitely wrap up our session for today. And
Yeah,
yes, to conclude, I think we can just say that there will be challenges every step of our lives, and achieving a US visa is no joke as well, whether it's a student visa, an employment visa, or even a visitor visa, right? So challenges like these, they keep coming and going. And the previous generations also of immigrants, they have been facing a lot, and many have successfully also built their lives in the US, and that is why so many of us are here. And no matter the
yeah,
obstacles, no matter what came in the way, but if you were determined, if you knew what you wanted, if you wanted to be in the US, you just did anything and everything to do it, right? So that is there. And yes, the situation right now for H-1B holders may be a little uncertain, but it's not hopeless. So I think we'll just have to be
of
more
course.
patient, and
Yeah,
not just give away, stay updated. I'll always say that. And yeah, let's just stay updated and see that we are on the right path. Don't break any rules, any laws. Make sure that you know each one. And it's no more what we used to say, right? Ignorance is bliss. It's not bliss anymore. Please wake up, go check out, go read up, and stay updated on everything and all the changes that's happening.
that's right. And I would also like to say to all our H-1B workers, who are watching us today or maybe attending these sessions, that friends, stay strong, stay informed, and know that, of course, you're not alone. We are there with you. And I think right now we can provide the information regarding all the things that's happening. And it would be great. The tech industry, immigration attorneys, and advocacy groups are working towards the solution. So please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show, and we are there with you. You're not alone, so don't be hopeless. Stay strong and be happy about the challenges that's happening because we will definitely provide the solution. In case if you didn't have any solution, then of course it's a point of discussion and it's a point of little anxious. But we have this channel for you guys so that at least you can have a right solution and right answer to all the questions and all the doubts that you're facing right now. So with that, thank you so much everyone for joining here. Thank you, Nipasa, also. It was great talking to you. And David also, please, join us on call from next episode. And Richard also, it would be great if we could have you with our, on call from the next webinar. So till then, friends, keep watching Immigration Talk Show. It's me, Sam, with my co-host Napasa Pradhan. We'll come up on Daily Immigration Dose from Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. EDT for you guys. So stay tuned and keep watching Immigration Talk Show.
Bye, everyone.